Badge, Black, Brick City. What's your name, age, and your current occupation?
Marsh, 52 years old, and I'm currently retired.
Retired from what?
Being a police officer.
Where?
The city of Newark.
Newark, New Jersey?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you grow up at?
In Newark, on South 13th Street, between 9th Ave and Central Ave.
Who was in your household when you grew up?
I'm the only child, just me, my mother, and my father.
Where did you go to school? Grade school, high school, etc.
Grade school, I went to MLK, which was on South 8th Street. Then I went to Berkeley Terrace in Irvington. That's when we moved to my aunt. Then I went to Vernon L. Davy in East Orange. And then I went to high school in Bellsburg High.
Did you go to college?
Yes, I did. I went to King University in Union, New Jersey.
Growing up, did you have dreams or aspirations to become a police officer?
Never.
When did you make that choice to become a police officer?
After working countless jobs, the test came out, and I applied, and I got on.
Before becoming a police officer, did you ever commit a crime?
No.
How was your rookie year in the police department, and what year was that?
My rookie year was 2001. The rookie year was interesting because me and my partner, we worked 3 to 11, and we were both rookies. So we had to learn the streets together.
Okay, what's the highest rank you achieved with the Newark Police Department?
Police officer.
Okay. Did you ever want to be a sergeant or a chief or any other high-ranking position?
Never.
Any particular reason for that?
Didn't want to be responsible for other grown people.
Have you ever been disciplined as a police officer?
No.
Not reprimanded, not wrote up?
You get, complaints maybe against you, because when you work in a particular unit, if the unit does something, they pretty much just bring everybody downtown to interview them just about what happened, what didn't happen. But personally, never any reprimands, no.
What's the worst detail or assignment you ever had to do?
As a rookie, we had a walking post on 16th Ave from the borderline from Irvington up into West Side Park.
And what shift was that?
3 to 11.
So you had to be on the beat on foot from 3 to 11.
That's correct.
If you can remember, what's the most people you personally handcuffed in one day?
Probably about 6 to 7.
So that was different incidents or just one incident?
Different incidents, different ones.
As a police officer, have you ever been shot at?
No. Had a gun pulled on me, but was never shot at.
Have you ever shot or discharged your weapon on duty?
Fortunately not, no.
Have you ever been assaulted by a suspect?
Yes. And we get into a fight. He wants to fight, so we fight. I mean, in the street, sometimes you can't always just go to the gun, pull a gun out. Sometimes you got to put your hands on people, and defend yourself.
So you were invited to a fight, or he swung on you? How did it take place?
Well, we went to go break up a fight outside of a bar, and we was pushing people back, and dude knocked my hand down. So as he knocked my hand down, I stepped to him, and then we just happened to be fighting. That particular night too, I broke my thumb.
Okay. Do you believe anyone deserves to be shot if they're not armed, the suspect?
No.
So if they're not armed, you do not think they should be shot?
That's correct. I don't think somebody with a knife all the time should be shot either.
Okay. We're going to change the speed a little bit. How did the police-involved killings over the years affect you as an officer, as a dad, and as a black man? How did they affect you?
Well, as a police officer, it puts a bad stain on the job altogether, because all police officers aren't bad. A lot of police officers are really good people. As a dad, I'm a father of a 21-year-old son, so I worry about him, being out here in the streets. And he's not even a street kid, but he could be anywhere and things could happen because some overzealous police officer wants to be extra with it. And as a black man, it hurts because at the end of the day, I'm a black man. I just work as a police officer. Well, I worked as a police officer. So as a black man, that watching that George Floyd thing was tough. Sure. It was tough. It was really tough.
How did it affect your fellow officers at the time? Do you recall when things happened? Did people react a certain way? Did they get cocky? Did they get sad? Did they understand? Did they disapprove?
Some understood, but a lot of officers didn't understand it. They feel that the victim is being handled the correct way because they don't understand how black people are treated by police officers. So a lot of the white officers felt like, the officer did nothing wrong. So it got to the point where nothing was said about anything that was happening on the news. Not in a public, area, like say during roll call or something like that. People talked about it, I'm sure they did, but not around everybody else because it caused too much friction.
Okay. While on duty, did you ever fear for your life as a police officer?
Not fear for my life, but like fear for getting seriously hurt. I mean, we had a riot one night down in Seven Boyton Projects, and if you ever been down there, you know how huge it is, and they got different buildings everywhere set up, and people, they were throwing bottles, bricks. We got riot helmets on, but you don't get hit with that, and then you don't know if somebody got a gun or not.
Did you ever consider quitting the force as a result of something that happened while you was on duty? Like something happened, like you said, the riot at Seth Boyden or something, you went home like, man, I'm thinking about quitting. Have you had any incidents like that?
Never had that, no. Never thought
that. While you were a police officer, have you ever been stopped by the police either in Newark or out of town or out of state or anywhere? And if so, how did that interaction go?
Yes, I've been stopped plenty of times. As Parkway. If I'm going to if I go to the ShopRite somewhere like in Clark or places like that, you get stopped. And what I do is I just sit there, I roll my windows down, put my hands visible, all that stuff, and I let the officer go through their whole little spiel. What they're gonna say, why you stopped me, officer, blah blah blah, and once they tell me the reason why they stopped me, it might have been legit. So I just show, pull out my ID and then they, let you go.
Sure. Have you ever seen someone you arrested while you were off duty and out of uniform that maybe they tried to get bad with you or say something to you for you arresting them or something?
No, not like that. It wasn't a bad encounter. I was in a bank one day and this guy, I was, dressed up about to go out, and this guy says, "What's going on, officer? How you doing?" So my mom like, "Oh, what is this about?" So I turned around and looked at him. He said, "You know what? I just want to thank you." He said, "You remember me?" I said, "Nah." He said, "I just want to thank you because I knew I had a warrant, and that night you and your partner pulled me over. I got locked up, but the warrant was paid, and now I'm good now. You know what I'm saying? My life is going good." So it wasn't a bad encounter at all. It was actually cool.
Okay, as a local cop, as a city cop, a Newark cop, did y'all ever run into trouble with like the sheriffs, the state police, or the federal police, and anything like that? Like with cases, like a case was too big and they took it over, maybe saying y'all were too small. Do you ever have any incidents like that?
No, I never really had any incidents with like with out of state or out of county agencies come to take over. I mean, Newark is very popular, and people know that Newark knows how to do the job. And they know we have a very big department. And we've never been involved in a situation where the feds had to come and take over a job. Nah.
Is there racism amongst officers in the police department, like from officer to officer? Like maybe a Spanish guy don't like an Indian cop, or a black cop don't like an Asian cop? Is there anything like that that goes on within the police department from your knowledge?
I mean, I'm sure it is.
And is it visible?
That's the whole thing. It's not as visible because at the end of the day, if something goes on in the streets, you know your backup could be black, orange, purple, yellow, white. You don't care as long as you get a backup there. So I don't. I mean, like I said, I'm sure it is, but I never actually like seen it. Like, oh, I don't like this white boy or blah 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 like that. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing.
Have you ever heard the term police groupies?
Yes.
And if so, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. Police groupies. I didn't think it was real, but they're very real. I mean, you go to a call in a house, you know, and they give you the number. You know, they give you the number to, you know, officer, take the number off the report and give me a call. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or you be somewhere working a side job, they just come up to you. How you doing today? You know, just start talking to you. The uniform definitely attracts the women.